Sometimes love isn't enough. As an adoptive mom, people would often say this to me, as if to imply I couldn't love my son enough to change behaviors or heal his trauma, so I should probably just give up. At least that's how I took those four powerful words, which had buried themselves deeply in my mind, leading me to doubt my ability to parent my child. Sometimes love isn't enough. That is the truth. Oftentimes, you need love and powerful, personalized tools to raise a child who's experienced trauma and disrupted attachment, or a child who you're struggling to connect with. I am on a mission to help parents raising kids with a tricky past to show up with unconditional love and practical tools to lovingly manage even the most challenging of times. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Plus, if you like what you hear, I'd love for you to leave a review. Now let's get to the good stuff. Welcome back to Sometimes Love Isn't Enough. I'm your host, Angie Grandt, and in this episode, so recently we've talked about the different human design types. I did a very general overview of the different types. For this episode, we'll keep it pretty short and sweet, but I actually want to talk about how to love somebody when they're a type that is different than your own. And I also encourage you to look at it through the lens of, if I'm talking about your type and you're struggling to maybe feel like others aren't recognizing you, aren't loving you the way that you need to be loved, well, perhaps you could share some of these tips in a compassionate way with the people in your life who you love most to help them know what you need. Because we often are not very good at telling others what we need. Some of us are really good at telling others what to do, but we're not so great at either recognizing what we need or articulating it in a way that helps others really know how to show up for us. So let's dive in. I'm going to go through the 5 types in through the lens of human design, and hopefully you take away some nuggets. If you want some visuals about these, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to send you. I made some just some images that you can print out, hang on your fridge or your mirror or wherever it matters to you, because when we're able to really step into feeling like we can articulate what we need to feel loved, it can be a real game changer in your most important relationships. So let's dive in. All right. So the first type that I want to talk about is the generator. I do tend to talk about the generator first, not because they're the most important, but really because it's the most common type. There are 2 generator types, and I am going to split this into talking about both, how to love both types, because there are some unique differences with the 2 energy types. Generator types have the same aura, but some different needs because of some just unique pieces about them. And so the generator type is 70% of the population approximately. So this is speaking to most of us. I myself am a pure generator as well. So if you love a generator type, one way to really show them that you love them is to ask them yes/no questions. Generators can have a harder time with open-ended questions, and it's not that we can't answer them, but if we're really trying to get to our truth and what is right for us, asking our sacral yes/no questions, and I went through this in a few episodes back, but it's a really great way to show us that you love us, because when we are asked open-ended questions, we get into our head, and we're not designed to answer with our head. And so we tend to, when we're asked open-ended questions as a generator, we tend to give answers that are not really 100% what's right for us. It's what our head has decided is, pleasing this person and that person and taking into account things that really aren't about what's right for us. So if you love a generator, ask them yes/no questions. Which goes into the next thing, is help a generator get out of their head. We, as a generator, our gut knows what's right for us. And our head has a lot to say about what it thinks is right for us. Our head really tries to rationalize us out of tapping into that really beautiful gift that we have as generators. It's also, if you love a generator, help them recognize that they are kind of fixed in their energy. As generators, we have consistent energy that is ours to use. If we get to a place of burnout, we have a harder time accessing that energy, but it is ours and it is fixed, relatively fixed in us. If you love a generator, don't take their frustration personal. When we as generators, and I say we because, like I said, I am one, but when generators are feeling frustrated, it's because we have a very specific learning style. And when we feel frustrated, it's because we've reached a plateau. We are here to learn about learning and learn about that next step. And when we feel like we're stuck on a step, like maybe we're not making progress, we're not learning new things, we can feel really frustrated. And when we're making decisions that are out of alignment with what's right for us, we can feel frustrated. And so try to not take that personal. That's a really great way to love a generator is to acknowledge that frustration and to use some ask yes, no questions to get them back in touch with what's right for them instead of taking it personal because it isn't. Um, Another way to love a generator is to really understand how important work is for them. That although we may do work to sometimes avoid other things that are in our life, doing work that we love is really important to us. We are designed to do work. And so really supporting generators to do work that they love, really supporting them and making sure that they have the time and space to do work and to burn off that energy is a great way to show them that you love them. Another way to show a generator you love them is to really trust their sacral, to trust that when a generator says, if if you know that they were tapping into their sacral and not answering from their head, trust that a generator knows what's right for them, maybe more than you do. And this applies also to our kids. So I was saying recently that it is mind-blowing how often our kids, especially our generator kids, really can answer those yes, no questions and know what's right for them. Maybe more so than what we as parents know is right for them, which is, can really go against the grain of the way that we were taught to parent kids. And really support generators, their need to burn off that energy daily. So take your generator on a walk or, really encourage doing physical things or doing things to really expend that energy every single day. It'll help your generator sleep better too, or help yourself as a generator sleep better too. When you do things every day to burn off that energy, sleep tends to, of course, there can be medical things going on, but sleep tends to be easier, go better when we've burned off that energy. If we haven't burned it off, we're going to struggle to sleep. All right, so let's move into the manifesting generator. So a manifesting generator has the same aura as a generator, but they also have this internal nonverbal creative flow. And so, in order to really show a manifesting generator to um, really to really show them that you love them, it's still important to ask them those yes, no questions, right? Tap into that sacral that knows what's best for them. It's also really important because of that internal flow to not tell manifesting generators what to do or interrupt their flow. That can create some frustration and even anger when that flow is disrupted. And so it's really important if you love a manifesting generator to really let them have the freedom to go at their own speed, to do what they need to do, and don't try to keep up with them because if you don't have that manifesting generator energy, it can feel really defeating when you can't keep up, but it isn't the rest of ours job to try to keep up with them. Um, it's also if you love a manifesting generator, don't judge them for working on multiple projects at the same time. Don't tell them they need to finish one task before they move on to the next. Don't criticize them for not finishing projects. They're actually not supposed to finish everything they start, that many of their projects are designed to help them burn off energy and to use their creativity in a way that doesn't necessarily need to be finished. And so really changing our own mindset around the idea of like you start a task, you must finish it. Well, yeah, maybe some things need to be finished, but not everything does. Sometimes the act of a manifesting generator of creating and doing is just to get it started, is just to have that experience to burn off the energy or get some of that creativity out. It isn't about the finished product. Um, with a manifesting generator, to show them that you love them, inform them if things are changing or if you have an expectation of them. Again, it's not it is we show a manifesting generator best how we love them by giving them freedom. But of course, we're all in this, life thing together. And so sometimes there are going to be things that we might need to tell a manifesting generator, but do so in informing them, and asking them to inform you to the best of their ability. It disrupts a manifesting generator's flow to inform, but it's important to keep the relationships cohesive so that we're all on the same page. Same thing as with a generator. When loving a manifesting generator, don't take their frustration personal. Don't take their impatience or their anger personal. It isn't about you. It's about their energy and about their learning process and their mastery. Like I said about the generator, same is true for a manifesting generator, to really trust their sacral and to encourage and support their need for exercise and burning off that energy. Those are really important ways to really show yourself as a manifesting generator, or if you have a manifesting generator in your life, to really show them how much you love them. All right, so now let's move on to the manifestor type. So we talked about a generator, we talked about a manifesting generator. Now let's talk about that manifestor. So the manifestor type has a type of aura that they kind of block they have more of a tougher aura in that they are not designed to let in the energy of others. A manifestor is designed to follow their flow, which means that they don't necessarily need input from others to do that. That flow is already in them. So to love a manifestor, the best thing that we can do is trust them, give them freedom, and honor their power. We can love a manifestor best by not telling them what to do and not interrupting their flow. Although, like I said, really teaching a manifestor or encouraging a manifestor to inform you, because with that energy, right, a manifestor is designed to follow that flow, which might mean that they have this pulse to do something and it doesn't necessarily occur to them, or they don't want to disrupt that flow by telling others what they're doing, which can leave others in their life feeling frustrated or feeling angry or feeling left out. But to not take that personal and really to have that increased understanding about their flow and encourage them to inform you about what's going on. And again, for us to inform manifestors about things that are coming up, things that need to change. It's also really important for when we're loving a manifestor to wait for them to initiate, which this can apply to romantic relationships, but also just other projects or tasks that they have this beautiful flow in them. And so the more that we can wait for a manifestor to initiate, to get things going, that's what they're here to do. Um, Also, when we love a manifestor, like I said, they have this more of a protective aura. And they don't need guidance from others, but they really want relationships. And so really understanding that about the manifestor, that that type really can run pretty independently and doesn't rely on the guidance from others. Like as a generator, generators need things to respond to. And a projector type, we'll get to that in a second, but a projector, um, you know, needs that invitation. A manifestor just does. And so really to not take that personally and know that, it's an energy type, it's not personal, and really showing up for a manifestor and loving them with who they are is just such a beautiful way to show up for a manifestor. Um, Same thing, if a manifestor is angry, don't take it personal. It's usually because their creative flow has been interrupted or that things just aren't moving fast enough. And so to support a manifestor in your life with giving them that freedom that their flow doesn't have to be interrupted, that they don't need to explain what they're doing all of the time, and also giving them that space to follow their flow. It's also really important if you love a manifestor, don't ask them yes, no questions because they are likely to try to tap into that sacral uh-huh and but they don't have that defined in their energy type. And so the responses they will give you if you ask yes, no questions tend to be conditioned ones. They tend to not be their truth. So to show up for a manifestor, if you want to help them find their truth, use open-ended statements like, I'm wondering about, so that they can talk through what's going on with them. Um, it's also really important to understand when we love a manifestor, to understand that they don't have consistent energy in the same way that a generator does. And so a manifestor is likely to need downtime. They have this beautiful energy that can initiate, but they don't have consistent work energy the way a generator does. All right, so now, which also means when we think about sleep, manifestors really need to have downtime before they're ready to go to sleep. If um, if a manifestor is trying to go to sleep when they've completely worn themselves out, they might actually struggle more with sleeping because they've kind of like gone past the point of rest. So, really supporting manifestors and making sure that they are burning off their energy in an appropriate way and then having downtime before going to bed. All right, so then the next type is a projector. Both of my kids are projectors, so I'm learning so much about this energy type, but that projector energy can be really piercing to, especially to generators. We're designed to receive that energy from projectors, but when we haven't asked for it, when it hasn't been invited, as a generator, it can feel uninvited. It can feel intrusive. And so to love a projector, ask for their insights a lot. Ask for their advice, their ideas, ask what they notice as often as you can. Projectors often don't need advice, although my experience is that projectors can be conditioned to think that they don't know. A projector can really be conditioned to think that they need outside advice. They can be conditioned to not trust themselves. So, to really show up and love a projector, help them see what a beautiful gift they have to guide others. And you can do so by continuing to ask for their advice. Or when a projector comes to you for advice, reflect that back to even just say a question, not just, I'm trying to eliminate that word from my vocabulary, but to say back to a projector, if they're asking for advice about something, to say back, "Well, what do you think is best for you?" Or what kind of advice would you give to someone else if they were coming to you with that question? Because most of the time, your projector loves no. They just have, there's that word again. They've been conditioned and they have likely clouded their ability to see what a beautiful gift they have to guide themselves and others. It can be challenging for a projector to see in themselves what's right for them, that projectors tend to be great at recognizing in others. So, continuing on with how to love a projector, help them recognize that they are inherently wise and they usually have really, really great input about all kinds of things. Invite them to share their ideas and be proactive in asking them for their guidance or their opinions. We really want to try to avoid asking projectors yes, no questions for the same reason that we avoid asking manifestors. They don't have that sacral to give a body level uh-huh and uh-uh. So when we ask projectors yes, no questions, they're answering in a conditioned way or answering from their head, which doesn't really know the truth for them. oftentimes for a projector to find out what's right for them, they oftentimes have to talk it out and they need a sounding board. So to really love a projector and show up for them, be that sounding board. And to be aware as the sounding board that that is not an advice giver. A sounding board is somebody who listens and perhaps repeats back what your projector love is saying, but not giving advice about it, just reflecting it back to them so they can see it on the outside of them and that they can make sense of it. So providing that safe space for projectors is key, and to let them know that you will give them your undivided attention to listen to them. That's what they need. They also need appreciation and recognition for who they are and what they do. And projectors need downtime. When we really love a projector, we don't guilt them for not, maybe working a 9 to 5 job. We don't guilt them for not having the same type of energy that a generator type might have. We really protect their energy and see it as their beautiful ability to guide others requires them to be really protective of their energy and not waste it on things that aren't meant for them. All right. And then last but not least, the reflector type. So the reflector type is the rarest of them all. It's around or about 1% of the population. A reflector type has a different type of aura. All the 4 different energy types. So the generator type, manifestor, projector, and reflector. So manifesting generator falls into the generator type aura. All 4 different energy types have a unique aura. And the reflector aura is a bit of a protective layer around them because a reflector has all of their centers open. So they can really see others in a much broader way. But the reflector aura, it's not just this like open gate for all of the energy to come in. It is more protective. And so to love a reflector, really to help them see that their job is to learn from the energy that they experience from others. Their job is not to take that energy in and make it as their own and to drag it along with them. Their role, and when we love a reflector, is really helping them see that they have this beautiful gift to experience other people's energy in a way that the rest of us can't. And they have the power to learn from it and then let it go. So when we love a reflector, giving them space and time with no pressure, loving them as they are and not trying to change them, which is tricky because a reflector often can be more receptive to the identities of others because of their openness. So a reflector can sometimes have challenges with really understanding who they are and what energy is theirs because we all are every day are going through these fluctuations in energy as the planets move, but it's a different experience for a reflector. So when we love a reflector, try to appreciate that they have such an important role in humanity to really reflect back the energetic status of your community, of your family. A projector, when we love them, providing them a safe space to talk and for us to listen, similar to the projector type, where when we're not a reflector, our role is really to be a sounding board and to reflect back to the reflectors what we hear them saying, or to just listen. It's important when we love our reflectors, similar to a projector and a manifestor type, when we love them, understand that they have a need for downtime. They have a need to protect their precious energy. And when we can allow them to manage their energy without putting additional pressure on them, that it really shows that deeper sense of love and appreciation for their gifts. When we love a reflector type, it is important that we allow a much longer decision-making process, especially for the big things in life. Reflector typically needs at least 1 lunar cycle, so a full 30 days, to really experience energy and to understand what's best for them. And so honoring that and allowing that longer decision-making time is a great way to show a reflector you love them. To really understand that sometimes a reflector might need us more than we need them. A reflector needs to experience our energy to have a greater sense of life and humanity in a way that the other types don't need it so much. And so to really honor that and to be present in ways that we show up. Um, Also to really love a reflector, to know that you'll see the truth about yourself reflected through them, and to not hold that against a reflector. When a reflector is mirroring back who we are, uh, it could perhaps be painful to really see who we are through somebody else's eyes, but that's their gift. And so to really um, be okay with that and be accepting of that so that they feel supported. And the last thing about a reflector is to really honor and support, if needed, your reflector's need for a daily practice of really getting rid of energy that isn't theirs, whatever that might look like. It might be practices like emotional freedom technique or tapping. It might be things like meditation or doing some grounding practices. It might be that exercise of talking it out. That might be their way of really getting that energy out. But when we love a reflector, showing up for them to support their need to get rid of your energy, the other energy in the house, the energy that they've picked up on throughout the day is a really beautiful way to help them get back in center with who they are and can help sleep too. So I know that this was a ton of information. I hope that you found it valuable to really look at the people that you love and yourself in a way that there's some really key things that we can do to love ourselves more, to advocate for what we need more, to articulate what we need in our energy type from those who are in our close family, what we need from them so that we feel loved. And I hope that you take away from this maybe some key things that as you're looking up your family members' designs or your boss's design or your coworkers or whoever it might be, I hope that you take away from this maybe just one thing that you could do differently for them to really show them that you care and that we're all in this together. So that's it. And like I said, if you want, I had made up some visuals with these tips that I went through. So if you want those, feel free to send me a message. I would love to connect with you. Talk soon. I hope that you found this episode so incredibly powerful. Thank you for joining us for Sometimes Love Isn't Enough. If you resonated with what you heard here, please subscribe to this podcast and give us a review. You can also follow us on all the socials. Check the show notes for all the details about how to start tackling behaviors and creating a powerful, loving relationship with your child, a child who needs your love the most. And if your gut's telling you that it's time for a change now, book a free consult. I'd love to help you love unconditionally and show you that you have that power within you.